Hi, it's Bert from Mantic Moments, and as you may know, about a month ago I was at a tournament, which was a 3-game event, and unfortunately I didn't get my first game. I got a bye in my first game and didn't play anyone, but I'm going to do the battle reports on game 2 and 3, and again, unfortunately, neither game was actually finished due to various circumstances throughout the day, which was a real shame, but I figured some people might want to watch this and just see how the game played out a little bit, and I will make sure to get fuller battle reports that don't finish on turn 3 or 4 in the future. So starting off with this game, I was playing against a Varangur opponent, which is a kind of Warriors of Chaos equivalent. And his army ended up winning Best Painted, so definitely pay attention to it. It looks really nice on the battlefield. And he was a great opponent too. And starting on my left, he has a Devourer, and then a little bit further over he has a unit of Cave Trolls, which are just tipping that forest there. And then he has a regiment of Sons of Korgan, behind that Mage, and then over a little bit Warband Horde. That's his center. Over to the right, but not quite on the right flank, he has Direfang Raiders, and in front of them a unit of Tundra Wolves. And then he has Horse Raiders. Behind them he has his Lord, which I believe is a chieftain on Direfang. Then over here he has another unit of Tundra Wolves, and behind that house, out of view, he has another Mage. Onto my deployment. On my far left flank, I have a horde of wights, then a Cursed Pharaoh. He does not have the wings of Honey Maze. I know everyone kind of expects it, but he does not. I wanted to see how it went. I then have a regiment of Revenant Cavalry with the Wine of Elvenkind, so they have Nimble. And then I have a Leech King, and I paid for heal, so he has heal and surge, and he's mounted. And then I have a regiment of Skeleton Archers, a regiment of wights, which unfortunately got broken in transport, a BSB with the Flying Hammer, one-shot upgrade, horde of zombies, and then a regiment of Soul Reaver Cavalry, and slightly in front of them, a vampire on Undead Pegasus. And the Soul Reaver Cavalry actually, of course, have the Potion of the Caterpillar for going through terrain, and lastly, 2 catapults. This is pretty much how the board looks overall. You can't quite see his Tundra Wolves on the right. Over left a bit, you can see the rest of my flank there. So I'm pretty confident in my left flank. I feel like I have a couple of tricks up my sleeve there. My right flank I'm not too worried about. I think I can hold stuff off. And just in the very center, you can see that it's the dominate scenario, and that we need to move to within 12 inches of that little token in the center of the board. So, on to first turn. I move forward, I just stay out of range of his Tundra Wolves, and just have my Vampire on Undead Pegasus forward a little, and everything else goes a couple of inches forward, which is what kind of disrupted my Soul Reaver Cav regiment there. And everything else moves forward a couple of inches, except for the catapults, really. And going towards the left, you can see I've even angled my archers, and then moved my Revenant Cavalry up a bit. And then what I did with the wights is I moved them forward, and I had the Leech in range and the Cursed Pharaoh right beside them. So first of all I surged with the Leech, then I surged with the Cursed Pharaoh, and that put the wights behind the hill and out of sight of the Devourer. So over here I shoot with both my catapults, and I managed just 2 damage on the Direfang Riders. Really hoped for more. And the rest of my shooting is just a regiment of Skeleton Archers, and it does nothing. So, onto his turn, he realizes the Devourer is in a tricky spot, so he just decides to move forward. Over here, I can't kind of get over how amazing Movement 9 Nimble units are. So his Tundra Wolves come right forward, and then right at the end, turn in to face my flank. The other unit just moves forward a little bit to threaten my Vampire on Pegasus. Over here, I think his Devourer had Breath Attack and Vicious, which dealt 1 point of damage to my wights. And over here, his Mage does 1 point of damage to my Skeleton Archers. And over here, his shooting from the Light Cavalry and the Mage together only does 2 damage on my Vampire on Pegasus. So, Not too bad. Onto my turn. I managed to obviously charge the whites into the Devourer, and I think with the help of Surging, I'm not sure I got the Regiment of Revenants in. Either way, they're both in. I sidestepped my zombies to the right a bit so that they're kind of facing his warband a little bit more. Not really sure why. And just reposition my BSB. Over here, I reposition my Vampire on Pegasus, trying to kind of deal with the angle of both of the Tundra Wolves coming in. And my Soul Reaver regiment moves to the right a little bit, just to protect things. So yeah, I just kind of did this a bit rushed. I was trying to move on with my turn. In shooting, I think both of my catapults hit, and they both went for the Direfang Riders, and yet I only dealt 3 damage. So again, they're completely fine, nothing happens to them. And over here, I do a load of damage, obviously, to the Devourer. I roll an 8, which gets rid of it easily, and that's gone. And I just reposition the Revenants a little to move towards the center. And onto his turn, he charges in with both of the Tundra Wolves. He manages to get past my Vampire Pegasus with the ones on the right and go into the catapult. And then I didn't even think to check it, but he was in the flank with the other Tundra Wolves into my Vampire on Pegasus, so I don't know what I was doing there. Over here, he moves forward with his Sons of Korgan, and he just shuffles up and around a little bit with other things, Cave Trolls to face my 2 units on the left flank. On the right, he moves up a little bit again with everything that didn't charge, just getting a bit closer to my lines. In shooting, his mage can see the Cursed Pharaoh, so he puts 1 point of damage on that. Over here, he manages to do 1 point of damage on my Soul Reaver Cavalry with his mage, and no, I think the mage couldn't see, but the light cavalry shooting. And over here, he obviously destroys the catapult. That's to be expected. 7 damage. So with the Tundra Wolves here, he manages to do 8 points of damage on my Vampire on Pegasus, which is a lot more than I expected, but he does have Thunderous Charge 1 and a flank. So this actually wavers my Vampire on Pegasus, which is very unfortunate. And onto my turn. I decide to charge in with the Soul Reaver Cavalry and basically sacrifice them to take out his Direfang Riders. And I reposition my Vampire on Pegasus a little so it's a frontal charge next time. And I move my whites pretty much straight forward and then surge them with the Leech King. And they go way further than I expected, so they're practically at the edge of his board. And I just bring the Revenant Cavalry in a bit and the Cursed Pharaoh in a bit to deal with his center. Over here, I don't get up to much, just reshuffling again. So in my attacks against the Direfang, I actually get quite a lot of hits and wounds. I obviously get rid of my 1 point of damage with Life Leech, and I actually do enough to kill them despite the Lord being in range. So obviously I'm going to overrun so that I don't get flanked by his light cavalry, and I'm hoping I can go far enough that I can get away a little bit from one of his other units, but unfortunately I just go like that, so it's not quite as far as I wanted. Onto his turn, he charges my Vampire again, he charges my second Catapult, and his light cavalry charge into the side of my zombies. I had not seen this coming at all. I didn't think they were in range, and the thing is, I shuffled to the right, like I mentioned, and I shuffled about 2.5 inches over, and he was only in range by about 1/2 inch or 1 inch, and I don't know what I was thinking. And that brings them right into the center of the board as well, which is not good. Over here, my Soul Reavers get flanked by both units. His Cave Trolls turn to face my Regiment of Revenants, and his mage here moves up, as you can see. So on to combat. The lower Tundra Wolves destroy the catapult, obviously. The upper ones do another 4 damage and take him out, which really sucks. And then here they do 10 damage to the zombies, but obviously the zombies hold. And here the Lord does 10 damage by himself to the Soul Reaver. Keep in mind he's not individual. And the Warband does another 3 damage. And without inspiring, that's going to be enough to get rid of them. So on to my turn. The zombies countercharge the light cavalry. The Regiment of Revenants managed to be in range of the Sons of Korgan, as was the Cursed Pharaoh, and then obviously the Whites and the BSB charge in as well, trying to take that out in just 1 turn. And of course the Whites are able to pivot, move forward, and I got a good surge off. I think I needed a 6 or 7 on 12 dice, managed to get it into the flank, very happy. And I do a fair bit of damage to the cave trolls, but not enough to kill them. And I managed to annihilate the Sons of Korgan, obviously, and that's just me repositioning there. So since pretty much my right flank is gone, these zombies are trying to hold up the middle a bit, and they get 1 point of damage back and deal 4 to the light cav. So next we're moving on to his turn 4, which is actually going to be the last turn, because we didn't realize how late things started, and a lot of people ended up starting that late. It was a real shame, actually. I really wanted to play a few more turns. So he charges into the zombies, and 11 damage actually, because I had the life leech, was enough to destroy them and allow him to move forward there. His warband is charged into my BSB, and you can just see up there the corner of his lord and also his mage, and they've moved up just to be in range of the dominate scenario objective. He does 3 damage to the BSB. BSB is fine. Inspiring is great. He actually got a charge over here with his mage to try and take out the Cursed Pharaoh. Honestly, I don't know why he keeps thinking he can take him out like that. He should have charged into the flank of my BSB, but he didn't, and that did nothing to the Cursed Pharaoh. And over here he countercharges into my whites, dealing 8 damage, which is not enough to shift them, especially not with that roll. And that's it, unfortunately. I really expected to get a couple of more turns. I thought that I would be able to get that Regiment of Revenants either into the warband or into the rear of the cave trolls by using my nimble. I was hoping to just take out one more unit near the center, and then try and sweep in a little bit to hold back his force driving in from the right. But honestly, I made a lot of mistakes over on the right. I really shouldn't have positioned my vampire where I did. If I had measured any of it or checked the angles, I would have realized it wasn't a great position to be in. I probably even shouldn't have moved forward on my first turn. My catapults were okay. They did a few little points of damage during the game, but if I hit and then roll low and I end up only doing 2 points of damage on a unit, it's really making me wonder why I have the catapults at all. Same again with the archers. The archers basically did nothing this game. They may have gotten 1 damage on the Sons of Korgan, but I don't think they even got that. I was very happy with my surging on the left flank, and back when I charged in the Soul Reaver cavalry, I don't regret the charging in, but the overrun, if I had held position, he probably would have flank charged them, holding up his fast cavalry for a turn, and since I probably would have had the other 2 units in my front, maybe, it might have actually kept them alive, who knows. So it wasn't actually the best idea to run forward, even though I thought it was a great idea at the time. So I really need to think about these little things. There was a lot more, but that's just one example. So yeah, a lot of lessons learned. If you noticed anything that I could improve on or that I got wrong, let me know. Thanks very much for watching, and I will get on to the next battle report from this tournament soon. At this point, I am now on about 19 battle points, which is not great, honestly, since I only actually earned 4 of those. My opponent had the scenario objective, obviously, and he got a couple of 100 points more than me in kills, which gave him 1 more point there. So it was a 16-4 loss for me. That's this battle report. If you liked it or you want to see more, subscribe, share it with your friends, all that kind of stuff. You can follow me on Twitter, and that's @ManticMoments, all one word. It's just like the YouTube channel. And let me know what you thought in the comments. Thank you.